Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex. Little Kenny Golladay updates for you. Numerous teams have entered the fold now. We're talking the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chicago Bears. Both of them are inquiring about Kenny Golladay and his availability. And now you have the Baltimore Ravens. The interesting scenarios here as other teams are entering the fold. Now, the question is, what do you actually expect from those teams? Are they in a position to actually sign Kenny Golladay? The Baltimore Ravens, this one just came out this morning, and personally, I think that Kenny's agents are trying to pressure the Giants into making a decision today. I think the Giants have the biggest deal on the board for him, which is why he wants to go. Part of the reason why he wants to go there. I also think he's friendly with some of the players. And, this meeting is happening today. It happened yesterday, carried on into Friday morning, and is probably still happening right now. Now, what I think about this is pretty interesting because the Giants have an opportunity to lock Kenny right now. They just got to lock the doors, don't let him leave, and sign on the dotted lines. And his agent's a good agent. Todd Francis is legit. I think, he also has Will Fuller as a client, a couple other really high-profile players. The Giants have an opportunity to make this deal happen, but he's also trying to drive the price up because he doesn't want Kenny Golladay to get a bare minimum deal. He wants to drive that price up for a wide receiver one. So I think the Chicago news was interesting. He met with Chicago on Wednesday, but he obviously left and didn't have a deal in place, so I think that's probably off the table. There is a report out now saying that the Chicago Bears wanted to pair Allen Robinson with Kenny Golladay to get a premier wide receiving core, but you have Andy Dalton. I mean, if I'm Kenny Golladay, do you really want to go to the Bears and Andy Dalton right now? And you're not going to stick around. You're going to have to learn an entire offense. You're going to have to learn all of this, and then maybe they extend Allen Robinson another contract and they let Kenny go because you can't really have both long term if you want to strengthen other positions on your team. But just Andy Dalton alone is pretty much like why would you ever go to the Bears in the first place? So I think the Bears are off the board. I think that his agents are trying to use them as leverage for the Giants to increase the money on that side of things. So I'm not too worried about the Bears. The Ravens, on the other hand, interesting team there, but I also don't think that they're also a big threat to the Giants because they don't have a ton of cap space to deal with right now. Let's see, they have about $12 million in cap space. But they have some signings. That next year they have a lot of money too. So they have some money that they could utilize. Josina Anderson seems to think that they don't really have the money to do it. Maybe they have to make a couple more signings. Maybe they have some other holes they need to plug. They also had the 32nd ranked passing attack last year. Lamar Jackson, obviously more of a running quarterback. They don't have a very high profile air raid type of offense. Lamar Jackson kind of just runs around and then they hope for the best. They're very much a run first team. And it showed. They really did run the ball very, very effectively with very good power blockers. But their passing game is pretty inept. I don't think Kenny Golladay would want to go there because of that, wide receiver one share of targets. The Giants can guarantee him a couple things. One of them, they can guarantee that he's going to be the wide receiver one on offense. The second thing, they're going to guarantee he's going to get a ton of targets because Daniel Jones is, as we know, one of the most accurate deep ball throwers in the NFL. So they can guarantee him that. And they can guarantee him probably a multi-year deal worth about $14 million per season, maybe 15 if you're pushing, if you're getting lucky. Dan Duggan of The Athletic reported that, he could earn in the $13 million range. And if you get a wide receiver one at $13 million, that is hands down a miracle. The football gods are gifting you a contract that's, you can now maneuver other places. You can use more money towards a CB2 on a veteran, which there's tons of right now. There's so many players available in the CB2 market. The Giants, if they can get that Kenny Golladay on a shorter deal, in terms more or less just less money, $13 million per season. Let's say 2 years, $26 million. I would be fine with that. Even 3 years with no dead money in the third year. Similar to Allen Robinson's deal a couple of years ago. Allen Robinson signed a 3-year, $42 million deal coming off a torn ACL, and I've been kind of trying to hammer this along that Kenny Golladay had better statistics than Allen Robinson during their rookie contracts. And Allen Robinson only got $14 million per season over 3 years coming off an ACL tear. If the Giants can land Kenny Golladay for the same contract around that same number, it'll be an absolute steal because when healthy, he's a wide receiver one. He's a Pro Bowler in 2019. The guy had almost 2,000 yards and 11 scores. He led the NFL in touchdown catches in 2019 with 11. That's pretty damn impressive. And if the Giants get a guy like that who's an absolute beast in the red zone, he's 6'4", you're looking pretty good. The Giants are in good shape. So I think this is a very, very good opportunity for the Giants to lock in a wide receiver one. And I also think it benefits the entire offense. It's not just Daniel Jones who really needs this. It's also, It's a couple of things. I think Saquon also really benefits from this. Saquon Barkley, the running game opens up tremendously if you get a guy like wide receiver Kenny Golladay, because now you have to allocate more attention toward wide receiver one. Think about this. If you have John Ross on the outside, Kenny Golladay, and Sterling Shepard, John Ross forces you to play two safeties deep, right? If he forces you to play two safeties deep pretty much all the time, because cornerbacks are playing off-ball coverage, and if he puts on the Jets and runs straight go route, there's no one that's going to be able to stop him. And you have to have a deep safety for help over top. But if you're only playing cover one, a lot of defenses play cover one and cover zero, only one safety in the backfield for the most part, because they weren't worried about anybody else beating them downfield. If the Giants, push a guy like John Ross downfield, and you have to have safety help over top. Now you have Kenny Golladay on the other side, who's in man coverage. If they're playing cover one, in man coverage, you can just throw the ball up to, and he's going to make a 50-50 catch 95% of the time. So that's where I see this going with Jason Garrett. If you have two safeties back there, it takes a guy like let's say it's Jabril Peppers. It takes a guy out of the box, right? So now you don't have that extra defender stopping the run. That's where Saquon Barkley is going to make his money. That's where Saquon Barkley is going to dominate once he gets to the second level. If you're playing off-ball coverage on John Ross on the right, let's say strong side, they halfback pitch. They sweep it to the right side, and John Ross has an off-ball cornerback, and they have two safeties in the backfield, and you pitch it to the right side. Saquon Barkley now has an off-ball cornerback who's 10 yards deep already, who has to now come up and make a play, and you have an extra safety in the deep portion of the field, and he's going to be way outside of the play range to actually come up and make a play. So Saquon Barkley has a lot more time, a lot more space, and a lot less defenders to deal with in the running game. So it benefits him tremendously. It benefits Daniel Jones because it doesn't allow defense to send extra blitzers all the time, because they're afraid that they're going to get burned by Kenny, John Ross. You still got Darius Slayton. You have Dante Pettis, Shep, and you have Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph now. That's a unit to be happy about. And you have the 11th overall pick in the draft, where maybe, just maybe, you go out and get Jalen Waddle. And now we're talking. Or do you get Rashawn Slater at 11, plug that right tackle spot. You can get a right guard like Wyatt Davis in the second round. There's Creed Humphrey at center. Tons of options the Giants can work with here. But this is where we are at with Kenny Golladay right now in terms of, the teams that are involved, why I think most of it is smoke screens by the agents. I think they're trying to leverage this against the Giants. The Giants cannot let him leave the room, leave the facilities, because if he leaves, their probability of signing him decreases by 50%, I would say. But there are some red flags. People have said in the past he did not have a good relationship with Matt Patricia. They do have Kyle O'Brien now. The Giants hired him as an executive from the Detroit Lions, so he knows Kenny Golladay pretty well. And a lot of players in the past have said he's a great teammate. He works really hard. Even the coaching staff during his injury last year were like, he was working really hard. He was not trying to sit out because he was worried about a contract. He was trying to get back into shape. He had a hip flexor strain, and that's like not the worst thing in the world. Those usually heal to 100%, so I'm not worried about the injuries at all. But I hope you guys took something away from this video. I'll be updating you throughout the day on the new moves and the information coming out. But I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Make sure to subscribe below. I have content coming out all the time. Live streams, really a lot of fun. So I hope you guys liked the video.